Hi, and welcome to another episode of Buttpluggin with qDot, and I'm excited about this one. It's not often that I talk about sex toys that I think are well built or interesting. I just kind of support this stuff because I have a weird addiction to reverse engineering odd hardware, but this one's neat. This is actually pretty cool. So, what I'm going to be showing off today is this. This is the OSR-2. This is a sort of free as in beer, open source-ish. You do have to pay a little bit for it just to get the plans, but you 3D print all the parts yourself. The code for it is completely open source. Stroker. It is probably the most advanced toy I've ever run into, especially for the price. Once you buy all of the parts for it, I mean, assuming you have a 3D printer and all, um, you're probably going to be like $150. And that's like high market price, like if you're buying really expensive servos and things like that. But the 3D printed parts, super simple. And I mean, that's going to cost dollars at most, if you have a 3D printer. So to give you a little bit of background, this comes from the Vertimate community. There was someone there that saw the flashlight launch and stuff and was like, I can do better than that, and they did. So what this does is you can put a flashlight in it, and this looks way better when it's powered. So you snap a flashlight into it, similar to how the launch used to work. And then it can move up and down. So you have your stroking, but it can also tilt. It can rotate. So you have multiple axes of movement available through this. It's all just running through, for this version, this is the OSR-2. That actually has an extra pitch module on it. So this has 3 servos. You can turn that into so many more, and I'll show you how to do that later. But this is kind of the fully kitted out base model, at least. Um, so the person that made this, Tempest, they run the community as well as a Patreon. So you can find that Patreon at patreon.com/TempestVR. If you sign up there at the $8 a month level, you will get all of the updates as they come out. Believe they're trying to do one a month right now, which is really ambitious, but they've been keeping up with it. At the $3 a month, you can get some of the plans and whatnot, but it's like a little bit delayed. All of those levels get you access to the Discord, which has a wonderful, vibrant community. So, without further ado, let's start kind of digging into what this thing is. Okay, so moving over here, and so the OSR-2, this one's fully assembled, like I said. It's basically just a couple of pitch arms tied to this, what we call a receiver. All of this is modifiable. Just, if you don't want to use a fleshlight with this, you don't have to. You can always print a new receiver. People have also printed receiver shims, which, if I had actually done any planning for this video, I would have mine available right now, but there is a shim for the Lovense Max 2 that mostly works with this, so that you can actually use the Max with the vibration and the air bladder that it has, and put it in this and make it also a stroker. So things can get pretty complicated here. This connects to your computer via a USB micro port that shows up as a serial port. So if we look in here at like what the circuitry is, this is basically just an Arduino. This is the Romeo BLE Mini V2 from, I believe the company is D-Robot. So it's just basically a little Arduino with BLE and some servo and motor drivers on it. You'll run, I believe, 12-volt power into that. There's a specified power brick and stuff that you can get. So your USB and your computer and your computer control and your power will come in up there, and then these are just two 20-kilogram hobby grade servos. And these are kind of what turn the pitch arms right and left or make them move up and down. And these will hold stable, since they're servos, when it's idle. So that's it. That's really all the main portion of the OSR-2 is. Over here we have an extra pitching mechanism. So this adds an extra degree of rotation to the system. So you can see, let me see if I can get the camera in here. There's this extra arm right here that pulls that up and down. And if we look at how that, so that gives you this sort of, yeah, linear kind of like, or the rotation on what I guess would be this axis. So one of the interesting parts about this too is this base that was built here. Here, I've got a unbuilt one right here. So if we flip this over, this offset right here is actually a VESA compatible mount. So if you would like to hook this to something like a monitor mount or something like that, that's what this is made for. And the nice thing is, if you have a monitor mount, that's going to provide the weight compensation and whatnot so that the movement of the toy shouldn't push that around too much. Now, the mounting mechanism I have attached to this is the VESA clamp. So this is actually a table clamp that I also 3D printed. The plans for this are available on the Discord. So you can just mount this to, say, the front of a desk or something like that, and that gives you your mechanism. It works great. And there are add-ons that go outside of this also. For instance, this was the original pressure change mechanism. So what this does is, as you have your fleshlight in the system, this is just a little cap that replaces the... so if you aren't familiar with fleshlight's pressure regulation mechanisms, you'll see these holes right here. So the idea is that if you want more or less suction within the ONA hole, you just tighten or loosen your lid based on how much you want that to happen. But that's still a manual process. If we wanted to automate that, that's what this cap does. So we can screw this on up here. Come on. There it goes. Okay. And I don't actually have the tail right now. I just kind of threw this together real quick because I wanted to get this video done. So what this does, it's yet another servo. So as we push this around, this can actually automatically regulate the air pressure within the toy. But let's say we wanted to have a rotation system that went like that. That would be the twist, which is another part that I don't have printed quite yet, but will soon, that allows you to do all of the other movement, the up and down and the tilting movements, plus having the toy itself twist back and forth. So you can really create some both natural as well as physically impossible by the human body movements with this thing. It's pretty wild. So now that I've kind of given an overview of how all this works, let me actually just give you an idea here. Yeah. So, yeah, so as you can see, there's just, you've got your stroker, but you can also go that way. And with the extra arm, you can actually move all the way around, so you kind of have rotation on that axis and that axis, as well as yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've printed this in PLA, and you're obviously going to be putting some really weird strains on these arms as you do these tilts, and there's a good chance you could delaminate this. Obviously, you could print it in PETG if you wanted a stronger system there, but the nice thing is, if you do have a 3D printer and you just want to put this together, you can always just print more PLA parts or whatever else. These take like 20-30 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. So once again, unlike depending on a company that has a breaking toy like Curie did with the Fleshlight launch or whatever else, you can just fix this up yourself, assuming that you have a 3D printer and some basic engineering knowledge. Now, if you don't, there are people that are selling both kits of both the pieces and the actual fully assembled machines. I don't know how much those are running right now, but those people are part of Tempest's community. So if you sign up for Tempest's Patreon and get on the Discord, or even just maybe ask on the Patreon, you'll probably find someone that can either get you the parts or help you build one, or maybe just send you a built one already. Yeah, so that's kind of the overview of what this thing does. Let's take a look at it actually running a script. So obviously it will stroke, and you can actually, if I can get to the side here, you can see it rotating up and down. There is a little bit of sort of side-to-side movement too. So this script just has like different sets of rotation movements and stroking, but this can move in real time with games, movies, things like that. There are some. Let me turn it off here because boy, that's loud. There we go. So there are video players and movies that will synchronize with it, but yeah. So this is, of course, just the intro video. I'll probably be doing a construction video next. I have parts behind me to make another one. I already have like 2 here for development. For those that are wondering, there is not actually support for this in Buttplug yet. It's been one of those things I've been perpetually meaning to do for about 6 months. Unfortunately, the Buttplug Rust release has taken more time than I planned. But hopefully that will be in soon, and then it will support Script Player and Playground and Stinky Dink and all those other things. I'd like to thank Tempest for putting it together. I'd like to thank his community for being such a great community, really. They've been really great to work with over the past year. If you have an OSR-2 and want to sing its praises, have things that you would like to see it do, please feel free to comment on this video if you liked this. Please like and subscribe. And of course, if you're interested in more contact like this, please feel free to sign up to my Patreon or GitHub sponsors accounts, and please join my Discord server too. So that's it for the OSR-2 intro. Kind of scattered, but there's just so much to cover, which is why this is going to be multiple videos. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep butt plugging.